of, everything has its place, and, running your own house as a single person, and then you bring someone into your space, or you acquire a space together. Do you guys have specific roles that you naturally took over within the house, or was it something that y'all sat down and said, okay, look, this, but I'm gonna be responsible for? So how did y'all manage that?
Some things we kind of fell into. I do the finances. I don't know if it's because I work in banking or what, but I give me the money. I take care of everything financially. We both pretty much split things as far as chores are concerned, if you will. I will not touch the trash though. I absolutely refuse. I don't take the little bag out of the can and put it in the big can. I don't take the big cans to the street. I just don't, and I won't.
She has drawn the line, and that is
yes,
okay.
Absolutely. But we both do laundry. We both clean, dust and whatever. Oh, and my husband cleans the bathrooms because he loves me.
Oh, bless him, Jesus.
I will, but he does, and I do dusting and stuff like that. But it was not about traditional man. This is what men do. This is what women do. Whatever. We're a family.
This is what works for us.
This is what works for us, and that's how we roll. Even with the baby, this is what works for us. Sometimes we try to trick one another when we smell a little something, and it's just like, since you're up,
yeah,
can you change the baby? Knowing full well you setting your partner up. He did it to me this morning. But it's okay. It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. But it just works. It's just like, without even thinking about it. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no method. I don't have any charts on the wall. It just works.
Yeah. For us, I think because when we moved in together, he moved into my space. Mm-hmm. It was, I naturally did certain things. Yeah. But I also have come to learn I'm naturally better at doing certain things. Mm-hmm. And so he likes to be outside, so you manage the outside. Yeah. And I manage the inside for the most part, and it works. Now that Christian is a little older, mm-hmm. Christian now takes on some of those roles as well. Yeah. And it's helped. So I know, with the little ones, when they get a little older, it's like, okay, here's a broom. And let me show you how to, you're going to love this one. Yeah, Yeah,
because they are responsible for some things now, mm-hmm. making their beds, making sure everything is picked up and put away in their rooms, and cleaning up behind themselves in the kitchen. I do not like dishes in my sink at any time ever. So as soon as you're done, you must clean I don't care if it's you just used a cup. They have their own little special sponge.
But that teaches good behaviors as they grow up, mm-hmm. because at one point in time, and this is what's so Christian, you're going to be on your own. And if you haven't learned good behaviors, then you're going to live in a pigsty. Yeah. And nobody wants to date a nasty man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So, how about religion? Does religion play a big role in your marriage at all?
We're spiritual, but not necessarily religious, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. God is at the head of everything that we do. He is the head of this house, right? He's the head of our marriage. We're not necessarily folk that have to be in church every Sunday, though. But we talk about God, we love God, we know that we wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for Him. So that's very important that we acknowledge Him with gratitude, and we thank Him for the blessings, that He's bestowed upon our lives, our families, us individually. So spirituality is definitely a big part of our marriage, our relationship, our lives separately before we even got together. My husband went to like a theological college. Wow. Yeah, he has he's not an ordained minister or anything like that, but he took some courses and he has like a certificate or something like that. But and his side of the family will tell you that there's a calling on his life to ministry.
Really?
Yeah, he's not tapped into that quite yet, but that's what his family is convinced that there's a calling on his life. And he prays for our family. He prays over our children. He prays over me. And it's just very powerful to have such a spiritual partner like that. You know, my prayers are constant, but they're internal. You know, but my husband is like one of those people, he can like just, you know, start praying and just everything is exactly what you need to hear. It is exactly what you want to say. You know, he can really verbalize that part of the, you know, the spiritual journey. But religion, you know, we're raising our children to know that God, you know, you can't do anything without him. You know, you have to believe in him, you have to trust him, you have to have faith, you know. And that comes from his parents to him, that comes from my mom to me. You know what I mean? My mother is the most faithful Christian that I know. And she instilled that in her children. And I carry that with me. You're not going to instill that in Avery. You know, we've had him dedicated already. You know, because he's a miracle.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure we'll get into that, but I need, God knows, because he knows my heart. But I need it just for me, for my family, and for Brandon and Mackenzie to see. Don't just internalize your gratitude, right?
Yes.
And it's not even really on the like bragging or boasting or whatever, like look how God has favored me. It's just crying out and just thanking him, just out loud.
Mm-hmm. Don't be ashamed. That's right. That's right. Be thankful. Be grateful.
Right.
So I didn't know that about Jamar. So that's very interesting that he has that background. And you know, I love to ask this question because it's so controversial. When we talk about, you know, religion and marriage and being the submissive wife, I have heard so many responses to this question, and I think people misinterpret what it means. But I'm curious to know, if I say that term to you, submit to your husband, what does that mean to you?
To me, it means trusting the decisions that your husband makes for your family, right? Supporting him, cheering him on, and just having the faith and the good sense to know that he's going to make good decisions, right, for your family. He is the head. I respect that. He is the man of the house. I respect that. He is not ever going to make a decision for our family without conferring with me, you know, but I respect his role.
Yes.
That's really just all it is to me, you know. It's biblical, right? A man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, you know, he leaves to cleave, you know, all of that. And marriage is pleasing to God, right?
Yes.
And he put the man as the head. I respect that. It's not somebody being in charge of you. You know, we still have our own individual personalities. We still make decisions for ourselves that are within reason,
Yes.
right? Because you
You're
do
still
have to,
individuals,
yeah, you still have to consider your partner in some of the, you know, most of the things that you do. You know, I'm not just gonna up and quit my job and come home and say, okay, Jamar,
figure it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Excuse me. So I just submit to the fact that I know that he's going to do what's right for our family. That he's going to lead our family in the right direction. He is a man. He is going to take care of his family. That's his number one priority. I trust him. I respect that. And I'm his partner.
Yes.
Right? I support him in everything that he does.
I think people get it twisted when they hear the term submit to your husband, being a submissive wife, that it somehow degrades your role as the wife. And you know, a lot of, especially now where women may make more money than their spouse, or just working and contributing to the home equally. And so there is a struggle for power, maybe, in some of those relationships, or a feeling of equality, and not really recognizing that there is a head of the house.
Yeah.
And when you have two heads of the house, or you know, one person who thinks they're not the spouse is not the head of the house, that I think that's where there maybe causes some challenges. But I completely and totally agree with you. You know, as a submissive wife, it's not, he's not gonna tell me what to do. That's not what it means. It means that he's leading us, he's leading our family.
Yeah.
And as you said, confer, I see it as me being a helpmeet.
Yes.
You know, we'll talk through things, we'll come to decisions together, and then there's some things, well, where he'll say, you know what, you go ahead and lead that. For example, the finances. You manage the finances.
I do.
It's the same in my house. So it's just like, that doesn't make you less of a submissive wife. Sure. Because your spouse has entrusted you to manage that situation. And I think people, you know, give that whole theme of being a submissive wife a negative connotation, just for lack of understanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
When you think about the role that your spouse plays as the head of the family, what do you think about the need to affirm him and show gratitude to him for the things that he does that impacts your marriage?
I think it's essential. One of the essential components to the success of your marriage, to affirm your mate, right? And maybe because my love language is, number one is words of affirmation.
Really?
So that, yeah, it's really my thing. Jamar's number one thing is physical touch. Holding hands, hugging, kissing, that thing. So we give each other what we need, but at the same time, you know, like I said, one of the major things that made me fall in love with him was how much he loves his children, how much of a family man he is, right? One of the things that my husband told me when we were dating very early on was that he always wanted to be married. Divorce devastated him. That's not what he saw. That's not what he wanted for his life. When he got married the first time, he thought it was going to be forever, right? So he works very hard to take care of our family. I work. He is now a stay-at-home dad, but that has not diminished his role, right, as the leader of this family, as an essential part of the success of this family and how he takes care of this family, right? It's just shifted, right, in a different way. So I have to tell him all the time so that he knows, that I know how hard he works. And I want him to know that I appreciate it. I love how he loves me. I love how he loves our children. He's one of the best men that I know, just as a person, right? Not just as my husband and as a father, but just as a human being. Jamar is a good, kind, decent human. And I tell him as often as I can, because I want him to know that I recognize these things. And I never want him to feel like he's taken for granted. Our children are too young, you know, to really, really see and recognize or whatever. But I see it, and I know. And I know that now it's not as easy as it would be, you know, for some men.
Because he's a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah. That could be a little bruising to some egos, you know. But my husband has handled it like a champ.
It also, I think, maybe he's handling it so well because of the support that he's getting. You know, and if there's the spouse is not making him feel like he's been diminished in role,
Right.
that it probably has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I am so grateful that he's able to be home with my baby. I don't have to leave him to strangers for 12 hours a day.
Ooh, I couldn't even imagine doing that myself.
I am. I'm grateful that he that we're blessed in a way that he doesn't have to feel any pressure about not being at home. I'm grateful that God has blessed us in a way that we haven't suffered financially by him being at home. You know? That's why I say, like, God is first in everything. Because without him, I know none of this would be possible.
Girl. I pray so much sometimes because that's all you can do, you know, and it's just, it makes such a huge difference because and when you say he knows how to say exactly what, it knows exactly what to say in a situation, you know, that the calming sense that brings over you sometimes just is amazing. So,
yeah.